Digimon Adventure The Last Evolution Kizuna is the conclusion of the original Digimon Adventure storyline, which is set 5 years after the events of Digimon Adventure Tri. We see all the Digi-destined grown up and mature. It shows a lot of adult problems as well that a lot of us go through and dealing with them as well. Sometimes I do wish I could just go back in time and enjoy playing Digimon World 1 or even just having a blast playing some Modern Warfare 2 with the homies. It was much easier back then, but it is indeed in the past, and now that I'm older, I have new priorities and that's just life. In the movie, it does show that the guys don't want to let go of their childhood, and I can't blame them. This movie is about growing up and understanding that you have to let go. For the Digi-destined, they still have a job to keep up, and is to protect the civilians from the Digimons that comes to this world, but also be able to manage their normal life. This movie will get you emotional as fuck if you've been watching it since you were just a kid. As a fan of Digimon Adventure myself, and growing up with the franchise, I've said that I cry like a bitch many times through it all. With many songs from the original series to updated Digi-evolution scene of the original, many references to the series, and with an amazing animation, how can you not? The movie takes place in 2010 with Taichi and his friends reaching adulthood. Taichi and Yamato gets informed by Minya, a science fix from America, that soon their partnership with their Digimon will soon end and forever separate them, as now they are not children anymore. As it goes on, the Digi-destined all across the world are being targeted and put into coma. This Digimon named Eosmon is the one behind it, and is also taking their consciousness as well. Tai and Matt now have a limited time before the connection with their Digimon is gone, so they have to hurry in order to save everyone. Kizuna mainly focuses on Taichi and Matt making the necessity of growing up and learning to be okay when things ends. Taichi having a moment to himself as he stares at its whole trademark goggles and Digivice from the first adventure, or working at a job that he doesn't like at all, and you can tell that he's exhausted from it. Feeling the pressure of looking for a job and to graduate because of his friends telling them, and shows that he's not so sure of what he wants in life, and a lot of us can definitely relate to that. Or Matt's face having a look of defeat when he walks by the street performer or seeing a kid playing the harmonica. When the two gets to a bar talking about life, Matt mentioned that he's not so sure about what he wants and is thinking about dropping out of grad school because he thinks that it's not the right choice. The two talks also about the other Digi-destined knowing what they want in life, and them not knowing show how hard it is for them since they haven't figured it out, and they are the oldest of the group as well. It's totally something that I can totally relate to, as I didn't know what I wanted in life and thought that I had to follow what everyone was doing, and that is to go to college and get a 9 to 5 like everyone else. But I said fuck it, and now I'm doing what I love and hope you do the same. And if you haven't figured it out for yourself, it will eventually come to you. Don't worry about it. You have so much time, and try your best to enjoy life as it only happened once, you know? And if you notice, I haven't really talked about the other Digi-destined, and the reason is that they don't really play a major role in the movie. Tiki and Ekara appears at the beginning as they fight off Batman with Angelman and Angelwoman, and also appear later in another fight that I don't want to say too much because it's very awesome, and I don't want to spoil it, so they don't really appear other than that. And the way the show begins by fighting off Batman with Angelman and Angelwoman it was nicely done. It was such a cool fight, probably one of the best fights in the show, to be honest. It's so nicely done, seriously, with the music from the original series and the Digi-evolution scene sequences in a better art style, right? Like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man, I actually cried a lot just watching this scene alone. It was very nostalgic as well, the fact that this was Parrotmon who appeared, which we saw back in Digimon Adventure movies. It was such a great job on their part for doing that. And as for the two, Tiki is writing off a novel and is also a freshman studying literature, and Ikari is a freshman in early childhood education. Joe is getting closer to become a doctor as well, and still work hard every single day to become one, and that's why we barely see him. Mimi sells stuff online, so she's busy working with designing original products. Izzy runs his own business, and he helps people with Digimon related problems all around the world, and he also helped Taichi and Matt solving the problem that is going on in the story, and he uses computer as he did back in the Digimon movie. So as I said before, there's a lot of Digimon Adventure references throughout the movie, and I love that. Sora is the head of a traditional flower arrangement school, and she decided not to fight, so she practically appeared for like 2 minutes in the movie. Like, she barely do shit, trust me. And yeah, she's very useless in this movie, but we do learn more about her from the memorable story, and if you haven't watched it, go ahead and do so if you want to see what Sora is doing exactly. And there's also one coming with Joe very soon as well that I'm going to be covering, and I'm really excited for it, and I hope you are as well. And as for the Digimons, they're still as goofy as they were back in the days. Agumon finding out about Tai's hiding porn DVDs was very funny because he wanted to watch it, and this also shows how much Tai has grown up since that first adventure. Agumon is still as loyal, supportive, and trust Matt, with his decision as he did back in the day. So it's very cool to see how like the Digimons are being the same. And for the other Digimon, they don't really talk much. We don't really see them doing anything really. They're just as goofy pretty much as they were before. Another thing I want to mention though is when Minua tells them that no one can stay with their Digimon forever, it really shows how broken they felt. Like we can see how it affected them a lot throughout the whole movie. It was very painful to watch. I understand how they felt, man. Like, you don't want to lose your Digimon, you know? One thing that I really love about this movie though is seeing the O2 kids reappearing in the show, which made me very happy, especially seeing my boy David still being a total idiot in New York. And you know me, man, seeing my boy Vimon was fucking awesome. I cried of tears of happiness just seeing all four of them actually. We even get to see Willis, Lotmon, and Terramon, even Miko and Mikomon, and many Digi-destined from the past, which I definitely didn't expect to see. And what I can say about that is this movie really gave us a lot of Digimon fan service, and I'm so happy with that. As for the battle scenes throughout the movie, it was so fantastic seeing Omegamon reappearing again, the O2 Kids champion Digimon in action, a Leomon for once as survived as well, my friend. And the final battle was something that I truly enjoyed, especially seeing the new forms of Agumon and Gabumon into action was well executed. One thing I have to say about the final battle that they do with all their Digimon movies is that their final battle is never too long, especially when they digivolve into a brand new form. We don't see them for too long, which kind of sucks because those new forms are just too OP every single time, so we just get like 30-second maximum of the fight with those new Digimons, and that is all. Especially the fights with Merciful Mode in Digimon Tri. This was so sad to see because you were expecting there were so much a big build up to this fight, and just to see Merciful Mode just do like one attack and that is it was such disappointed. But at least for the final battle we did see some really cool visual to it, and I'm cool with it. You know, that's the way Digimon does it, and there's nothing we can do about it. Maybe we'll change in the future Digimon movies, but I guess it is what it is, you know?
It is what it is. It is what it is.
And seeing the friendship of Taichi and Matt being so strong now made me very happy as well, since as we seen it at first, it wasn't as good as it is now. And as we learn in life, some of our best friends does drift apart from us, and we do see that in the movie as well, like seeing their friends' connection slowly falling apart. And it's definitely hard to see, but it does happen. And that's just the way it is. And this movie really shows us what's truly important now and then, and I love that. This movie had such a great message, and I'm all for it. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk about some big spoilers. If you don't want to hear them, here's the time you can skip to, so you don't hear anything at all from that, okay? Now, let me get to it. When Taichi blows into Ikari's whistle, and we get a quick nostalgic trip to when Taichi did it as a kid, got me really emotional, man. It was crazy to watch, for real. Then Matt and Taichi says we have to move forward as they keep saying it, and also accepted at the end of the movie that finally they have to move from there, and it was really great though. But one thing that really got me too is when Menua's memory of her and her Digimon showing that she didn't want to move from the past was really hard to watch, and you could tell that her intention of what she did throughout the movie is because she didn't want the other Digi-destined to go through the same thing as she did, because eventually you do lose your Digimon when you grow up, right? So I definitely understand her pain. What she did was definitely wrong. On the other hand, you know, the reason why is because she didn't want to move from her past, and I feel like a lot of people get caught up in their past or their childhood memories and get a lot of nostalgia, and sometimes it is definitely hard to move from it, but we do have to move forward in life in order to grow as a human being. So to say that, you know, as a kid it was much easier because we didn't know as much as we do now. So I definitely felt Menua's pain throughout the movie, especially at the end of it with this part right here. And another thing that got me really emotional is when Matt said we all have to live with the choices we make. We may not be able to change our fate, but our lives aren't preordained. And I really felt that, man. And Taichi and Matt also said that never give up, and then they saved Menua, and you can tell that she got really emotional. And I think at this point she understood what she did was wrong, and now I believe, we don't know, I do believe she will learn from her past mistakes, even though she's going to jail now. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like they were a great message throughout the movie, man. Now, this part got me crying in tears, man. This was the hardest part that I ever watched in Digimon, period. This part was just too crazy, man. But let's talk about it, of course. At the end, he cuts up to a scene of Matt with a new harmonica, which I thought was pretty cool. And Gabumon said, "Let me hear you play." And Matt plays the song, man. And it felt so nostalgic just hearing that. Now it cuts to Taichi and Agumon, right? And Agumon's like, "Yo, I want some ice cream." And later on, Agumon said, "You sure got bigger, Tai." And Taichi said, "You never change." And then he cuts back to Matt playing the harmonica, right? And Gabumon is just enjoying it. And it's so hard to watch, man, because Gabumon said that Matt is the best partner that he ever had, right? And then he goes straight back to Agumon, and we got that sad music going on in the background, you know what I mean? So now it goes back to Agumon, and now Agumon say, "What about tomorrow?" And on the other hand, Gabumon say to Matt, "What will you do now?" So Taichi says, "Who knows?" and look into the sky as Matt looks in the sky and say, "What tomorrow may bring." And as they both start saying what they think they should do, the Digimon disappear just like that. And then we get to see Matt and Taichi crying, man. Like crying really, really hard about losing their Digimon, man. And it's so painful to watch, man. I cried like a little bitch just this scene alone, man. Like I cried so many times throughout the movie, but this part right here was one of the hardest part to watch throughout the whole series for sure, man. It was really hard to just see those Digimons leaving like that. It's just the way that they leave is so painful because, you know, the Digimons aren't crying though, you know? Like it seems like the Digimons are totally cool with moving on, but they did mention that they do have a feeling that they will meet again. And that's maybe why it wasn't as painful for them to move on from this. But seeing two of our favorite Digi-destined crying like that, man, was just something that was very emotional. And especially if you watch Digimon Adventure, try everything around those two guys, made it even harder to watch. And just seeing that growing up with Digimon definitely made it harder for me, man. But it definitely felt like a big goodbye to the franchise, and it's okay with what they did. Just was very hard to watch, man. And after this, it cuts out to Matt saying that was how they finally grew up, but our story hasn't ended, and it's evolving in a new direction. And to finish this off, they say, "Just you wait, I promise I will come see you again." And I do believe that, since it seems that they're following the epilogue of the O2 ending, and I'm totally cool with that. Or what if the reason they're seeing it again is because of their kids having Digimons now? We don't know for sure what exactly how it's gonna go, but one thing we can learn as well from this part right here is that we do grow from our pain. Pain is temporary, but we do grow from it, you know. It's hard to be in pain, but we definitely learn a lot from it, because it is a feeling like any other feelings, you know what I mean? I learned so many things from this movie, man. I loved it. But it's safe to say, at least for me, that this movie was incredible. The animation especially was amazing. The story pace was well done. Felt like the story was more focused on Taichi and Matt and their partners, and I do wish it did focus a bit more on the others, especially, you know, Sora. I kind of wish I saw a little bit more of her. Sad note though, I felt like a lot of trailers dropped for this movie before it came out, and I feel like we got so many spoilers from it, sadly, and hope that in the future we won't get as many spoilers like that for Digimon. Like, I get the reason why they're doing it, to get us more excited for the movie, but if you show too much, it will suck when we watch it, because we will know most of it. And I feel like I knew a lot of things that were going on in the movie before it came out because of this. And I hope that in the future Digimons don't make the same mistake and don't show as much as they did for this movie, man. Regardless, I still enjoyed it a lot and love all the references to adventure. Seeing the Digi-destined growing up was great, and definitely learned a lot from this movie alone. It's a touching send-off to the series, and having to say goodbye to the adventure that fill our youth, especially to the ones that grow with the series. As for myself, that made me cry like a bitch ass. But of course, it's not the end of the kids now that we have the reboot, and I can't wait to see what this show will bring us more. But anyways, man, let me know your thoughts down below on this movie, and subscribe if you're new. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, it will be really appreciated, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.